Thanks for downloading a 3CR podcast. 3CR is an independent community radio station based in Melbourne, Australia. We need your financial support to keep going. Go to www.3cr.org.au for more information and to donate online. Now stay tuned for your 3CR podcast.
We're putting up new buildings, we're knocking down the old. We're working in the summer heat and in the winter cold. And the labour power we sell, me boys, for a hard-earned weekly pay produces mighty profits for the greedy MBA. And whether we were born here or born in Italy, in Greece, in Spain or Ireland, in England or Fiji, we all of us are workers, united we must stand, until the wealthy bludgers have been driven from our land. We faced deregistration, it backfired in the face. We're not fooled by arbitration, we won't stay in our place. We hit the bosses hard and fast to win and keep our gains, and break a couple of concrete pours to back our log of claims. So keep your powder dry and hold your head up high. It's class to class and face to face, our limit is the sky. We've got a fighting history and we never will be cowed. Our builders' labour is a name to make a man feel proud.
And it's good morning from the Concrete Gang, a bright-eyed, bushy-tailed and on Community Radio 3CR 855 on your dial. Good morning, Gorilla.
It's not a good morning for me, mate. I've had a bad one.
Okay, we'll pass on. Good morning, String Bean, who has now come off the bench. He's finished his apprenticeship and he's allowed to actually talk on the microphone.
He's got his P plates. He hasn't finished yet.
G'day, everyone.
I didn't say he was staying on the bench. Anyway. So String Bean is on the crew this morning because the bunny, Colin, has
got myxomatosis.
Got myxomatosis and some things to do, and the buzzer is
buzzing.
Well, the buzzer's had a big week. The buzzer has had a huge week, and he's walking around with a broken wrist.
Oh, yeah. I've got a few stories on that too, but I don't know whether I should indulge him on the radio. But he has been back down to the old gay end of Port Melbourne again. He's been lurking around there again, I've heard. He goes down there exercising. I don't know if it's had anything to do with his crook wrist, but anyway, we'll get back to that later.
Righto, so you'll see the buzz around town. He's out there doing the job this morning, and he's got an arm in plaster. Righto. I wish a few other people had been in plaster, full plaster, because it's a huge week this week in terms of the attacks on the CFMEU and the trade union movement. I'm sure there was a whole lot of self-righteous talking going on at the ACTU Union Leaders Conference this week, but the practicalities are the Turnbull government is attacking the CFMEU in particular. They've tried to reintroduce the ABCC legislation this week, and the crossbenchers were not intimidated. They were not conned. They were not fooled by the bullshit that Michaela Cash has been going on with. And in fact, Jackie Lambie went on the TV this week and had a few words to say about the 6 volumes of defence transgressions of various laws and morals compared to our good selves.
And good to see your angel wings coming along nicely there, fellas.
Yeah.
Looking very nice. And out on the sites, everyone flapping their angel wings around today. It's good to see. Or the other day.
Well, that's a Jackie Lambie quote, isn't it?
That's right. That and, that we should be taking a look at the builders and the dodgy stuff they're getting up to. Good on you, Jackie.
Well, that's right, String Bean. I don't know if it's appropriate time to bring that up, but as she brought up and String Bean just mentioned, they should get on the dodgy bills. Well, we've had a bit of that this week, haven't we?
Yeah, we're going to go on to that in a minute. Because
I've done a buzzer, have I?
You've done a buzzer. You haven't broken your wrist yet, but it's a long day. Because the tax on the trade unions, not just in terms of the ABCC legislation, but also the prosecutions of officials is absolutely running rampant at the moment. The ABCC and everybody else is hopping in to charge as many people as they can. There's all sorts of bullshit going on. There wouldn't be an EBA campaign about to start, would there?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Muddy the waters.
Indeed.
And that's why we've got a track.
That's why we've got a Muddy Waters track for the middle of the show. And we should also mention the MUA continuing to be attacked in relation to coastal shipping. Yet another ship has been taken out of the coastal trade, and the Australian crew, were told to deliver it to Singapore, and another crew would be taken over. So, folks, it's all happening.
Starving them out. They've locked the fridges to try and get them off the boat, apparently.
Up in Newcastle.
Way to treat people.
Yeah.
Please.
So, folks, it's a big week. It's going to continue. And I would suggest to you that in the coming month, with the committal proceedings in relation to the Boral allegations, all the other stuff that's going on.
The blackmail.
The so-called blackmail.
So-called, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, every day workers get blackmailed on site.
Yeah.
But we won't dwell on that too much, but just say be prepared for an absolute extravaganza of propaganda from the government, from the Herald Sun and everybody else who wants to basically attack the union and, I guess, blackmail, intimidate the crossbenchers in the Senate to pass legislation which just wouldn't happen in any other civilised country.
They're up against it, though, aren't they? I love the politics of what's happening at the moment. We got this guy, the pup, the Palmer United senator, D.O. Wang, something like that. Yeah. And he's going, well, no, we're not going to have this ABCC. We want a corruption commission. And it's more like, mate, have you seen what your boss has been up to with his how many millions of dollars has he given his own party, taking it from the workers' wages,
out of their pockets,
and these guys want to look into corruption. I mean, the Abbott Turnbull government's going to be they're having a tough time of it, mate. When you've got those guys against you, everyone against them's great.
Righto. So let's just mention a few specifics of what's happened in the industry this week. Early in the week.
Remember, the show's only half an hour, young Warren.
I know that. But listen, folks, it's been a big start to the week. A number of people have gone under, town and country. Soulcrete, like we didn't predict it. All these people have gone under on a lot of money. No money themselves, been put into receivership and so on by the tax office. Bank accounts frozen, builders with jobs incomplete, blokes unemployed, owed money. It's an absolute disaster. But obviously some people will get mentioned in Scallywag nomination time, but it has been a absolutely shocking week in terms of people who have been burning companies to avoid their tax. I'll mention Concorp there. There's been people that have been thrown into liquidation, like Town and Country, and there's been other people who, like our good friend Mr. Basford from Soulcrete, who just stuffed it up. And now, as usual, the union has to go talk to the builders and try and sort it out, because the builder's got a common interest here. He's got a subby who hasn't been able to complete the job. He needs to finish the job, and we've got members who need to stay working. The fact that it was probably set up for the subby to fail by the builder pushing the price down, so he really couldn't get the job done.
And trading insolvent.
And they end up trading insolvent, and then the builder tries to wash his hands of it all. But in the end, they've got to get the job done, and the people who are on the job are out of work as far as that subby's concerned. Well, the logic is put those blokes to useful work and get on with it. Yeah, it's going to be bloody messy.
Yeah, but there's a list of companies that keep using those companies that keep going broke, as our people, our friends from Buildcorp and all that. They've had a list of farm workers go broke, and I'm a bit suspicious of all that. that they keep. They know they're going to go break, but at the end of the day, the money they've saved on their quotes and all that, they know they can still pay out the blokes and still have a win.
Yep.
And they've had and it goes on and on and on, and all these companies blame the unions and now this has happened. It's all our fault, and at the end of the day, we've got to come in and clean the mess up, And people like writing letters into the union and blaming the union for this and blaming us for that. But I'll tell you what would happen to all those Salt Creek blokes if the union wasn't about? They wouldn't still be getting their back wages picked up, which the unions organised during the week. All their super, and we've mentioned it before on the show. Check your super, check your Incolink. None of that was done, so the union had to go and clean that mess up. We had to get their back pay done, and now they're working on those jobs to finish the jobs off. But these people that want to write letters in the union complaining about union officials and the union's not doing this and union's not doing that. Sometimes you've got to do the little basics yourself, Just check to see if your C-bus is done, your Incollink's not right, and if it's not, ring the union. Don't wait until, as Country
Town
and Country, 6 months behind.
On their super.
On their super, and some little grubby deal's been done. So, you've got a responsibility yourself to check it up, and if it's not right, ring the union.
We should give the Incolink app a plug there, I suppose.
Yeah.
They've got it up and running now. It's been launched, so go and get that happening. That'll help you out.
Yeah, you can go and check up on your account every day. Now, the other issue with the insolvencies is the inconsistency of the ATO. The ATO is in a situation where they can, if they suspect that people are trading insolvent, they have a capacity to investigate them. They have a capacity to find out what's happening with the taxes that are being collected from our members' wages. But somehow or another, one company can burn itself and Phoenix as another company, and yet other people are being put to the torch. Now, I got to tell you, there's a lot of politics going on in this, and I think the ATO are very much a part of that. Anyway, we might cut to a track.
We'll be going to muddy the waters.
We're going to muddy the waters with Muddy Waters himself, Smokestack Lightning.
Concrete gang, here to stay. You don't fight, you lose. Stand and struggle, stand and win.
Whatever it takes, whatever the stakes. She brought me gasoline.
I don't know. There it was.
Muddy Waters.
I'll tell you what, have they been muddying the waters this week, Warren?
One of my favourite tactics, I must say.
Yeah,
I've only got two tactics, muddy the waters or the high moral ground.
The high moral
ground.
ground.
If I can combine the two, it's usually a beauty. But anyway.
You reckon I was worse than you one time at the high moral ground? I was insulted with that. I thought no one was worse than you.
Oh, yeah, well, I'm actually good at it. But anyway, I'm going to get on the high morals again because, folks, just want to mention one of the most disgraceful, absolutely immoral activities that any government agency can get involved in, and that's WorkSafe and their abject failure to pursue the real people responsible for the 3 deaths in Swanston Street. This week, Aussie Signs, who were the subcontractor,
sacrificial lamb,
pleaded guilty, went into court, put the finger straight on Grocon, and they copped $250,000 fine, which is on top of their subcontractor who copped $270,000. And Grocon did a deal with WorkSafe and got away with $220,000. And as far as I'm concerned, there's only one person responsible for a job, and that is the person who's in control of the job, the occupier of the site, Grocon, who not only owned the site, but were also the developer of the site.
Can I muddy the waters? Who also equating a job down in Geelong to build a building for WorkSafe.
Correct.
So,
listen, look, you can get on your high horse and take the high moral ground, as I like to do.
As you love doing.
I love doing it, giving everyone a bit of a sermon. It's the benefit of old age. But listen, this is one of the most despicable bloody things that have gone on. WorkSafe stuffed up the prosecution originally, so they did a deal. Well, you can take half steps. When you're chasing a bloke down on a footy field and you're supposed to tackle him, you take a half step and you never quite get there. And I reckon WorkSafe have taken a lot of half steps. And maybe that's why there's an internal investigation going on in WorkSafe. I hope so. I hope it's for good reasons. I hope it's for good reasons, like WorkSafe are actually looking at how so many incidents where the investigator, the inspector, the investigation team have recommended serious prosecutions, but they never actually happen.
But listen, honestly, we really give too much airtime to WorkSafe. Look, I've been in history a long time, and honestly, we talk about them too much. They're as weak as piss. They have been for years. Any officers that were any good, had any balls, or did any good are all gone. The reason for that, well, obviously, one of our good mates passed away, but the rest of the good ones are gone. I think there's a couple maybe still there. Mate, when was the last they prosecuted Essen because they're on the drugs or whatever? When the last time they prosecuted a builder? Honestly, when was the last time? All the accidents we've had, all the stuff, what happened to that crane accident in the city? Well, has there been any charges coming out of that? You know, could have been a massive disaster in there. It's just all a wank. It's just all bullshit. And we keep talking about WorkSafe. They're going to do nothing. They're going to save no one. The cranes out in the suburbs, there's no protection around the buildings. They do nothing. The jibs of cranes are swinging over the top of rail lines and over highways. They do nothing. I mean,
over houses.
And houses. Your kids play in the backyard and they're swinging over the backyards. They do nothing. The only people out there is trying to do something as a union, but getting absolutely no support. The councils don't help. The councils don't do anything. They don't do any more. It's like they won't give them permits to put perimeter scaffolds or perimeter gantries around the jobs or walkways. Gantries. I mean, we just came here before, walked around, directed the walk over to the other side of the street. No proper gantries, all this sort of stuff. So look, WorkSafe to me. I think we spend too much time worrying about it, Warren.
Well, I will say this though. 15 years ago, there was a death, a fatality. Rob Sergi down at Corio on a road job when they're building the bridge over the railway line. And I got to say, at that point, you might recall,
yes,
we were going home every time there was a fatality in the industry.
Yes.
Right?
Until there was 3 in 1 week.
Yeah. And WorkSafe, under the Bracks government, actually got off their arse and prosecuted Leighton's for that fatality. They copped, at that stage, $270,000 fine, which was the top end of the then range of penalties. They also copped the cost of doing all the work for the code for bridge beams. They had to go and educate engineering students at university. They had to do all this stuff. People were actually on their front foot under both the Brumby government and the Beaulieu government and the Napthine government. That has drifted away. So I'm not going to say they've always been bad, but they have been drifting away for a long time. And if nothing else comes out of this internal investigation, at least WorkSafe, make sure the blokes who are in there making the decisions, those middle order, top order managers, are bloody exposed for what they are. Not only are they soft, but my suggestion is question what they're really doing it and why they're doing it.
They're an insurance company, that's all they are. Anyway, that's enough.
Righto. We'll go on. You mentioned the gantries, and we've got a nomination for that particular matter.
Yeah.
Caulfield Council, we'll come to that.
Is it Glen Ira?
Glen Ira, yeah.
I should know.
Glen Ira, Caulfield, it's all the same. And then we should just mention there's a couple of jobs going on at the moment, and one that's coming up is Shell Geelong. New tank down there, no local labour.
$28 million.
Oh dear.
28 million bucks.
And our good friend Darren Lyons down there, who promised jobs for Geelong. Sarah Henderson, where are they now?
I think that die's gone to his head, mate.
Oh, yeah. Tell you what, if there was more
All
bullshit...
show no go.
All show, no go. That's it. Should also mention there's a job going on in relation to Origin Energy down at Port Campbell, and I'm going to be nominating a subcontractor down there who's involved in the pipeline, ripping blokes off. Anyway, we might go to Scallywag. Obviously, Grocon and WorkSafe. Paul Basford, Salt Creek.
Yeah, Salt Creek. Well, we've already gone for all that, but so he's got to be in there.
And Glen Ira Council.
Glen Ira Council, yeah. And by the way, if in your local area or you're walking up the street, you see construction sign with that protection of the public, go and knock on the council door. Say, what's going on here? What? No one ever drops anything? I mean, it's just a joke. I can't understand how people can put up or get away with it.
You cannot have public footpaths without some overhead protection.
Exactly. Well, they do.
The smallest possible item coming down any height is going to do a lot of damage.
And as you know, brother, being on the tools like my good self, we do drop things.
Yes, and it is true, and it is a case of these days, more so than maybe the old days, there's a lot more pressure, there's a lot more things going on all at the same time in the same area, and that increases the danger of things coming down.
Exactly.
We heard the story of the woman in Paran with the pram and the kid, but there was the scaffold that came down in Carlton only a couple of weeks ago, and that was held up by the power lines.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what's going on.
Because the renderers took the bloody ties out.
Yeah, that's right.
That happened in Collins Street one day, remember? They went, the whole scaffold landed on a police car.
That's right. And it happened in
WorkSafe prosecuted that one.
That happened in the TAB when they put the TAB building up, and the scaffold collapsed, and the young boy was going for smokos, killed him. Remember that years ago?
Yeah, that's a long time ago.
Yeah. Anyway.
And also, we should mention a couple of these other companies that are gone bust. Ducon.
Oh, Ducon.
Phoenix themselves within 2 days, and still owe people money everywhere.
But some of their biggest debts are to themselves, aren't they? Ducon Building Solutions is a creditor.
Yeah, but they're and just so you know, they're building the Stokehouse, I think, down at in St Kilda there. So if you're going past there, give them full bifter. Throw rocks at them because it's a disgrace.
Yep.
And if the subbies, I'll tell you what, and they were non-union and all that, but if the subbies had any balls, I'd be picketing the job. Yep. If subbies, they want their money back, go and picket the job. Yep. And if anyone blues about it, tell them why.
Yep. That's right. Now, Town and Country are getting nominated because they've gone down owing big time, $230,000 on the C-Bus alone, and that's what we're talking about. C-Bus has got a responsibility to actually pull this bloody debt recovery mob that they employ into gear because they're going around making deals, which basically have allowed this company to fail to carry out their repayment plan on 3 different occasions, and that $230,000 will never be recovered. Next, Premier Cranes. We've got a bloody list this week. Premier Cranes, Batman Avenue, outriggers out in the traffic, no protection, no nothing. But some poor elderly citizen driving down the road, maybe the eyesight's not as good, doesn't realise that this black thing sticking out is in fact a crane. Bang, gone. So anyway, the claim went on, put the concrete barriers out, proper traffic management, proper protection, proper everything, and they put some concrete blocks out, stuff you'd use for counterweights on a building job, not the full barriers, which actually have a design which allows people to deflect.
So there's plenty there.
Troons, up at Ballarat Hospital, absolute disgrace of a job.
Goodness me. Cables through water. Everything muddy. It's just
last but not least, WorkPac for telling their blokes there was no agreement to pay the right rate for that pipeline job to Port Campbell. There is a rate, and you're responsible, and we're waiting.
So who are we going for?
Oh, you can't do better than bloody Grocon and WorkSafe as far as I'm concerned.
Oh,
Paul
geez.
Basford deserves a bloody
Oh,
dishonourable mention. Eh?
Yeah, all right. Well,
Righto.
we're happy with Grocon.
Yeah. Grocon and WorkSafe, it's a double and it continues.
Daily double.
Daily double and a disgrace.
Now that Michael Clemens Whinging Award. Jeez, definitely silence.
Do we have to give it to ourselves
Bill-
for complaining about this week?
No.
We can't do that.
Bill Corp.
Bill Corp. Yeah, whinging to the pickup.
Ronan.
Yeah, Ronan Pringle. I actually love that. He'd be laughing. He'd be sitting back laughing now.
We're going to have to
Ronan got so we got that. So Bill Corp for the Whinging Award. Grocon for the Grocon WorkSafe a double for the Scallywags of the week, and
OHS disgrace. So we got the Crane mob.
we better go.
Righto, we'll go out the same old way. Dare to struggle.
Dare to
win. If you don't fight,
You lose.
Good morning from the Concrete Gang. We're going out with the band.
You've been listening to a 3CR podcast produced in the studios of independent community radio station 3CR in Melbourne, Australia. For more information, go to allthews.3cr.org.au.